Chicago, like most big cities, has its fair share of unsolved crime. And in most of these cases, somebody saw or heard something. Somebody may have seen a suspicious person, a car driving away from the scene, or simply overheard somebody talking about the case. With your help, we can put these criminals behind bars where they belong. Here in Chicago, we have too many unsolved murders. We need your help. In these cases, the police department is only as strong as the citizens that get involved. Oftentimes, all the detectives need is a tip, a start. Somebody to call in and say, I saw something. Any little information that you know can be the impetus to solve the entire case. On tonight's episode, we'll take a look at the case of Alex Mojica. On April 27, 2011, Alex Mojica, a charismatic, loving brother and son, was standing outside a local bar with a friend. Suddenly, a dark-colored SUV pulled up and opened fire, striking both men multiple times. Here's his story.
Pues era muy tranquilito, no era un niño inquieto. Jugaba, pero tranquilo. Actividades, jugar en la casa, Nintendo.
Growing up with my little brother was a handful. It was like taking care of a baby. You know, my sisters and I, we were more like mothers to him growing up.
Cuando era teenager, se me escapaba de la casa. Se iba con un primo a jugar al parque. Yo le preguntaba, ¿dónde andas? Me decía que andaba con su primo y que no estaba haciendo nada malo, mami, me decía.
I got with Alex in 2002, I want to say, 2003. So not only were we boyfriend and girlfriend, we were best friends, we were best enemies. All of the above, we grew up together. He was family.
When he was younger, he would always look up to me because I hung out with a lot of dance crews in my late teens. And when he turned 21, he wanted to be in every club that I went to. He wanted to be that cool kid.
He could make any situation that was probably going bad, he'd make you look back and laugh at it because he just did the dumbest things. He was just a clown in the best way. He was always smiling or making you smile.
My nephew Jaden was 8 years old when my brother passed. Looks just like him. My brother loved that little boy, and he would do anything for him. He would put his son in his place when he was out of pocket. Disciplined him in such a great way. It was evident to everyone around him that Jaden was what he lived for.
In 2009, we took a trip to Mexico. And at the resort, we saw so many weddings, and it was something we talked about, a family, possibly getting married. Later, I found out that he was going to ask me to marry him. It didn't happen.
On April 27, 2011, myself and my partners, Detective Alonzo and Detective March, were assigned to investigate two people who were shot at 3601 West Harrison. This location is approximately 4 blocks west of where we were stationed at the time, so we were immediately on the scene within 5 minutes of the shooting occurring. When we arrived on the scene, there were 2 Chicago Fire Department ambulances. Alex Mojica was in one ambulance being treated by paramedics. Paramedics alerted us that Mr. Mojica was in grave condition and he was rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital. The additional victim who was surviving told us that him and Mr. Mojica were standing on the corner of Harrison and Central Park. He observed a large type SUV. He described it as a Suburban or Tahoe type vehicle coming eastbound on Harrison and making a southbound turn onto Central Park. As that vehicle made the southbound turn, a passenger from that vehicle opened up with an automatic weapon and fired 10 to 15 times at the corner, striking the additional victim and Mr. Alex Mojica. The SUV fled southbound out of the victim's sight on Central Park. A short time later, personnel from the 11th District notified myself and my partners that there was an SUV burning in an alley approximately 6 blocks to the south of where this incident occurred. We relocated to that location and found it to be the same SUV that the additional victim had described to us that was used in the shooting. The SUV was extensively burned in a fire. Fire department personnel were on the scene putting out the fire. Our crime lab people who processed scenes for evidence relocated from the original scene to where the Suburban was located and processed that, and because of the extensive fire, there was no additional evidence recovered from that vehicle. Later on, we spoke again to the additional victim. He could not give us a very good description of the people within the vehicle. We worked this case for 6 to 8 weeks afterward. We really didn't garner up any more information. The case grew cold.
Have you been in an accident? Have you been the victim of discrimination or had your rights violated? Have you been injured? If so, the lawyers at Hale Law would love to talk to you. We offer a free consultation. Call me, Andy Hale, 312-870-6926. 312-870-6926. I look forward to talking with you about your case.
On April 27, 2011, myself and my partners, Detective Alonzo and Detective March, were assigned to investigate 2 people who were shot at 3601 West Harrison.
That day, I was hanging out with my cousin. Me and her had a whole girls' night. You know, we were gonna watch a movie, we were gonna drink wine. I was gonna spend the night because I was far from home. And I got a call from one of his cousins, and she told me that he had been shot and that I had to get to the hospital.
We had planned a date for that Wednesday night. We were gonna go out, we were gonna have a good time. So around 8 o'clock I called, he didn't answer, which wasn't really like him. So I called my other cousin, which was his roommate at the time, asked him if he was home. He said no. I said, well, if he gets home, tell him to call me because we're supposed to go out and I don't know if I have to pick him up. And then it seems like not even 10 minutes after that, I got the call.
His girlfriend, Talia, called me that night. And she called me to tell me that Pell was shot. When I arrived at Mount Sinai, Talia and I had met up in the emergency room parking lot. From that point on, we went in, her and I.
We were confronted with one of the detectives, and he put us in a private room, and that's when they knew that he was gone.
When we conferred with the surviving victim after the shooting, we found out that Alex Mojica was standing here to my right, and the surviving victim was standing here to my left. You can still see some of the evidence here where some of the gunshots impacted the door. Multiple shell casings were recovered from the scene, and fired bullets were recovered from the door and from within the bar. After we started working the scene and collecting the evidence and talking to the additional victim, there was another witness that we located down the street, and she says that she heard the shots and saw this SUV speed by her and continue southbound on Central Park. A short time after that, we were notified from personnel from the 11th District that there was a large Suburban, light-colored, burning in an alley at 1016 South Independence, which is about 4 blocks south of here and about 2 blocks west. The offenders drove the SUV Suburban to this location. They parked the vehicle here in this empty lot, and the vehicle was set afire. When we arrived, fire department personnel were extinguishing the fire. Our crime lab personnel relocated from the scene at 3601 West Harrison to here and attempted to garner evidence out of the burned SUV. They were unsuccessful with that because of the extensiveness of the fire. After that, we went back to the scene and we did more extensive interviews with the surviving victim, and we were not able to garner a very good description of the suspects in the vehicle.
Life is so precious, and so many people do things and commit crimes and take people's lives with no value of life, not knowing that that one life can change so many different people's lives.
If you're watching this, please come forward. I'm begging you, for my family, for my brother's son, for my mom, for my sisters, for me, for those that he left behind.
Que hablen, que den información. Yo quisiera saber qué fue lo que pasó con mi hijo ese día. Por más que yo me pregunto, ¿por qué pasó esto ese día que él fue para allá? Quisiera informarme, quisiera tener información de qué fue lo que sucedió y cómo pasaron las cosas.
It's just been terrible ever since. There's no real answers. Just a bunch of he said, she said, you know, bits and pieces.
During the course of this investigation, we spoke with Alex Mojica's sister, Julia Garcia, and his mother. They described him as a role model and a loving father. If anybody has any information that can help us solve the homicide of Alex Mojica, please get a hold of Detective Russ Egan, assigned to Area North Headquarters, Chicago Police Department. My phone number is 312-744-8261.
I have faith that some way, somehow, we're gonna get peace.
We want justice for him, for his life, because in reality, the ones who are living the life sentence is us.
I just miss him every day more and more.
The cases you just watched remain unsolved, and we need your help. If you have any information on tonight's episode or any other cases, please give our detectives a call. We need our communities to come together so we can take back our streets and make our neighborhoods a safer place.